Good morning, Beth. Thanks for agreeing to have this conversation about studying at the University of Bedfordshire. My name's Russell Murden. I'm one of the professional policing lecturers at the University of Bedfordshire. Beth, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Beth, and I joined in the last year, following doing an HNC and HND in policing. I joined in the final year to get my top up to get the degree.
So in a way, then you were the kind of the exception in the rule, weren't you? Because you joined a group of students who were about to enter their third year on this new professional policing degree. You arrived at the third year separate to them, but obviously you seem to settle in very quickly. What course did you do? You mentioned you did an HNC and an HND. What was the course title and what was it looking at?
So the course title was just policing, and it was very similar to your degree. It just included everything that yours did in a way.
Yeah.
So like roads policing, criminology, vulnerability and risk, things like that. But yeah, I just really wanted the degree and to top up in order to get to you guys, basically.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great you came. Which college were you at? What was it, like an FE college that you were studying at?
Yeah, so I went to West Suffolk College and I did public services, and then I stayed on to do the level 4, and then I wanted to stay on to do the level 5, but that didn't happen because of numbers.
Right.
So then I transferred to Cambridge Regional College to do the level 5, and then once again the top up year didn't happen.
Right.
So I had to find somewhere quite quickly, and research somewhere I could go. And
Yes.
luckily, I spoke to Jonathan and you guys, and you managed to transfer my course onto yours.
That's
Which
right.
extremely helpful. Yeah.
For the first time. So as I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, you know, your cohort that you joined was doing everything for the first time. But just for those that might be watching this, what we had to do, we just had to sit down and look at the subjects you'd studied and the grades you got to see if you could join and be given enough credit to go straight into the third year. The other option would have been perhaps to join in the second year, but that wasn't needed.
No.
Because what we were able to look at, and I think myself or Jonathan spoke to one of your tutors, we sort of had a look at what you'd worked through, and you just mentioned
Yeah.
some of the subjects yourself, very similar to the second year options that we run in the degree course, and it just seemed to fit in kind of quite nicely in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think as we've spoken before, it was all a little bit last minute. There wasn't
Yeah.
a lot of sort of time. I mean,
No.
there's always time, to be fair, because the term doesn't start, does it, until late September, early October, but there is always time. Did that sort of urgency, shall we say, did that have any effect on how you chose to study? You know, whether you lived at Luton, whether you stayed at home, whether you had a bit of a combination. How did that affect your choice?
I would say it did affect it in a way, because I guess I didn't have as much time to think about where I'll be. However, if it was to happen again, I would still do what I did anyway, because I travelled in from home, which was about an hour and a half. But because I worked here, it just made sense, as it's only 2 days a week anyway. And it just made sense to travel there, come home, work at home, and then come back again. So yeah, but if it was more days a week, I think I would recommend staying where you're studying.
Yeah.
And trying to figure that out. But from my situation, I'm quite happy that I just was able to travel in and do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important point to make, isn't it? As your kind of lecture seminar time is last year was just Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So you had the other 3 days of the week you didn't have to be in. And I can't for the life of me ever imagine that changing. I don't think any of the year groups are required to come in for more than 2 days. It might be 2 different days. And you third years were the first third years we had. So I fully expect Mondays and Tuesdays will be third year years. It seems to make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nicer that it's the days after each other.
Yeah.
Because it just means you get it done and then you know what you're doing for the rest of the week, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite nice for us teaching it as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of works well. And the way the timetable worked out this year, for the first time, because we've never had third years before, Mondays, all 3 year groups were in, albeit at different times. But that was quite nice because we had the ability, if we needed to see you all as a great big cohort, rather than just year ones, year twos, year threes sort of thing. Okay, I suppose the obvious question to ask you next was how did you find the transition coming straight in at year three into an established group, albeit a very small group, and perhaps more importantly, the actual studying and the subjects that you looked at? Was it what you expected it to be? Were there any challenges? Would you, if you were given a choice, would you have perhaps asked for something different to be done? It's I'd appreciate your thoughts, really.
I would say going into it, I was quite worried. Just because new people, new staff, I don't know anyone basically.
Yeah.
However, very quickly I was quite comfortable. I just feel like everyone was really supportive and just made it really easy.
It seemed to be, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It just felt right. I think another thing that happened was because I really wanted to join in the third year, I was just really grateful to be there.
Yes, I understand
so
what you just said earlier.
Yeah. I would say in terms of struggles with studying, the learning criteria is different to what I was used to. In terms of how it's laid out in the assignment briefs. But after speaking to people about that and doing a few assignments, that again was a lot easier.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I think what it is just asking the questions and just making sure that you ask people what you're struggling with.
Absolutely. I mean, hopefully you'd agree that we as instructors encourage that anyway. It's everybody learns at different rates. So what you just mentioned then, was that more like the way the University of Bedfordshire does things, or is it more to do with a difference between an HND and a third year undergraduate degree? What would you put that down to?
I would probably put that down to the difference in the level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the way that the HND would lay it out and the way that a degree would lay it out. There's definitely similarities, but when you look at it, it can look a bit scary. Again, you just have to ask. I think another thing that I found maybe a challenge was the presentations.
Yeah.
Because it's new people, which is a bit nerve-wracking anyway.
Yes.
But for that, I would say practice them.
Please. Yeah, you didn't let yourself down, did you?
I would definitely say practice them. And that sometimes I feel like the build-up is actually more scary than doing. And as long as the content is what you need.
Indeed. Did you do presentations on your previous course?
We did, but we didn't do many at all.
Right.
I think I only did about 2.
Okay. So, and did you feel more comfortable on your previous course, because you were always the new person, weren't you, for every year, from what you just said? So did that feeling go through all the way then?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it did. Maybe that's just how I learn. I think I prefer written based things, but at the same time, sometimes it is nice to not have to write words and just to present something. So yeah.
Because if you think about it, when you're an operational police officer, you are going to have to present evidence at court. You are going to have to work and brief and contribute to briefing processes. So they're all important concepts to sort of get your head around. And nobody has ever been brilliant at all of them. No. Some people have strengths and some people have areas of development elsewhere. So that's the way it is, really. I don't recall you ever letting yourself down with any of your presentations. So
I would say I enjoyed the poster that we did though, because it broke things up a little bit and it was very different, and everyone was quite creative with what they did as well.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I hadn't seen a poster presentation before. In fact, funnily enough, we had a meeting yesterday and we're going to introduce a poster presentation into year 2 rather than a traditional PowerPoint presentation. We're going to give the students a chance to do it in year 2 before they do it in year 3. So everybody seemed to share that sentiment. Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, okay. Right, so we're just getting to sort of towards the end. I did say it was only going to be a brief chat. Hopefully it hasn't been too long. So looking back with what you know now, then, how would you kind of sum up the moves that you've had within your 2 colleges, but more importantly, the move from college and your HND to the University of Bedfordshire? How did it go? Did it meet your expectations? Is there anything you'd like to have done differently?
I think it definitely met my expectations. I'm very happy with how it's gone, actually. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like I was meant to do it, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
feel like the course that I did was meant to not happen because I'm just really happy with how it went and the people that I met as well on the course.
Yeah.
Um, and also the fact that I was given the chance to get the degree when I thought I wouldn't is just,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very grateful for that as well.
Got there in the end. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want something badly enough,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
always keep faith. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, it's been very useful for us because you're hopefully going to be the first of several to make these
Mm.
sorts of moves. So it's kind of important that we get your perspective. Certainly, from our perspective, it was a relatively easy process just to sort of see what you'd studied, what you'd have studied
Thank
if
you.
you'd been with us for the first 2 years, and then whether you move into year 2 or year 3. So we've now done that process. So again, I think that will be easier the next time as well. Hopefully, there will be, there will be some next times as time moves on. Okay.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I suppose just to finish off, you're in a position now, of course, where you've got this qualification, you can apply to join police forces in England and Wales, having graduated in the College of Policing degree for the next 5 years. And I know we
Yeah,
spoke just before we started to record. You're looking around, aren't you? You're looking at Cambridgeshire, joining Cambridgeshire, which is your local force.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So
that's
as I
what
said
I
before,
thought.
you must keep in touch with us and let us know how that goes as well, because well, we're interested, and we're all
Yeah,
ex-police officers, so we're interested in the next
yeah,
generation of police officers as well. Hopefully, it goes without saying.
yeah, definitely.
Any more thoughts or comments, Beth, before I stop? Before I
Um,
press record, stop recording.
I think that is everything. Yeah.
Okay, right. Let me remember how to press stop record. I shall stop it now.